everybody's patience. Closed session ran a little bit long, so we'll jump right into it. Item 2.02, certification of closed session in accordance with Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss ongoing personnel matters under investigation pursuant to the personnel exemption at 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia, for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members pertaining to actual or probable litigation, and consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel pursuant to 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia, and for discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body at 2.2-3711A29 of the Code of Virginia. And I also move to certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Moret?
Yes, ma'am. All right, item 2.3, action from closed session. We did not have any, so we'll move right in. Welcome, everybody. If you could stand up and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it. Item 4.01, announcement and changes in the agenda. I do not believe we have any, so
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to agenda.
second. All right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
ma'am.
Mr. Ray?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Moret?
Yes, ma'am. Jumping right into the fun stuff, we have presentation and recognitions. First, we want to recognize recognition of Cave Spring High School 2021 VHSL 3A state cheer champions again. So, Mr. Chuck Parker, welcome.
No, they're tired. It's been a long week. All right, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, I'd like to present once again our cheerleaders. I have a little statement here that we're going to read here. The Cave Spring Competition Cheerleading Program has advanced to the state championship competition for the last 12 years. They have won the regional championship for the last 8. The program has placed the top 2 at the state level for the last 9 years, with runner-up placements and 4 championship placements. The 2021 competition cheer team finished this season undefeated with a record of 6-0 and brought home yet another region and state championship. This team will graduate 6 seniors, all of which participated in the competition cheer for all 4 years of their high school career. Each of them have 2 state championships on their resume, both winning as a freshman and as their senior year. I would like to now bring Jen Cole, head coach, if she would like to say a few words for our team.
Always put me on the spot. But this time I'm a little bit more prepared. I wanted to thank you all for having us. I know y'all are behind the team, but gentlemen, thank you again. It's good to see you guys. And thank you, Mr. Parker, and the rest of our admin for being so supportive and saying those words about this season and our program as a whole. wanted to praise this particular team. They had a unique season, mostly due to the season prior. Being pushed to the spring, this team only had 3 months of rest until they were basically had to make the decision if they were going to come back for another season and put their bodies through the craziness that usually they have 8 months of rest to do. This team, I think, was so special because they adapted the mentality of big risk, big reward. And as coaches, we had several coaching decisions that we actually put in their hands this year. And they took that mentality and they ran with it. And I think that's what's leading them standing here with another state championship under their belt. This group is extremely competitive to the point where we had to figure out a way to harness that in a positive way multiple times, because it was our biggest strength, but also could be our biggest downfall at times. But they ended up using it to their highest advantage, and especially when it counted the most. As Mr. Parker said, we are graduating 6 seniors. Super excited for them that they've experienced this twice. They spoke all year to this group of, let's do this. You want to feel this. We want you to feel this. We want to leave knowing that there are others that can speak to what it feels like to walk away with a state championship. And our juniors, sophomores, and freshmen have felt that frustration of coming up just shy of that feeling. So we were really excited that they're able to continue their careers in the high school cheer world with that feeling of winning. So again, thank you all for having us here. We hope to see you year after year. Did you want me to go through their names? I know we've done that in the past. We don't. Okay, sure. Great. All right, excellent. Let me pull that up so I don't mess that up. Okay. Okay, sure.
I don't think it was ever a Saturday that I went over to that. Heard y'all were in the gym.
Yeah.
Y'all were just, yeah, y'all were good. And I tell you, for a record like this, it's not something that's just, hey, it takes a lot of work, and you wanted it. And it's silly. I really, we as a board, me as a serving Case Spring, are so proud of y'all. Y'all worked hard. And it gives a little push to cheer, man.
You can come back next year Saturdays. How about that? Go Knights! They're done. After that final state day, they're just like tapped out. Well, thank you so much. Sure, I can say their names if you want me to. Are they in alphabetical order? Yep. All right. Haley Adams. Where you at, girl? Walk up to him. Let's walk to him. Graylin Askew. Come on down. This is The Price is Right. Hannah Connor. Taylor Cox. Danny Dinsmore. We have one out of town. Her name is Eliza Dimchowski, so she's not with us tonight. Maggie Fields. Taylor Foster. Oh, sorry, Lauren Furdett. Okay, Lauren Furdett was first. She's at work tonight, so we'll hold on to hers too. Taylor, yours is bound to be in there somewhere. We'll get you. Okay, Carly Gaylor. Katrina Graham. Sierra Hartman. Abby Holbrook. Brooke Majors. Who put her in the back? Kirsten McKinney. Amalia Midkiff, Caroline Mills, Berkeley Nichols, Reagan Shively, Emery Weld, yes, okay, sounds good.
Sorry.
She's not. She's got some time to go. That's right. That's right. Well, thank you all again. We appreciate it. You want to photo?
Somebody in the middle, and let's make sure we can see you here. So,
I wanna come down.
Okay, I won't be long. Just a quick intro on the coaches real quick. This is, well, myself, my name is Jen Cole. Been with this for 13 seasons, which is crazy to think about. And then this is one of our coaches, Taryn Mabry. This is her 11th year. And Katie Lineback, her 12th season. And Katie just had her first baby boy, so that was fun to experience this year. Yeah. So, very proud of us as a staff for sticking with it. We're also the best of friends outside of here, so I think that makes a huge difference. So, that's our coach introduction. Thank you, guys.
Jen, I
Keep it
just
up.
want to say congratulations. I had a chance to go
Yes.
to Richmond and watch.
Yeah.
And I know the first round wasn't what you hoped for, but second round, obviously, they performed extremely well. So, and not only that, not only were you the best team, I think you had the best looking uniforms.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks for stopping me and saying hey there, too. I appreciated that.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Chuck, thank you.
All right, next item, we have recognition of William Byrd High School VHSL State Media Champions, and we have Mrs. Newcomb with us tonight. Welcome.
I'd first like to begin by saying congratulations to Cave Spring Cheer. I know at William Byrd, that's who we measure with. Like, where are we? How much more do we need to do? And by what score we have with Cave Spring. So they really are a great team, and that is a huge accomplishment. Today, I'm here to introduce to you, to the board, thanks for having us, Mr. and Dr. Nicely, our champion yearbook with the Virginia High School League. I have Christy Acker with me here, who's the sponsor and also one of our English teachers at William Byrd High School. This book, and I'm sure Ms. Acker will talk to you about that too, was done during COVID. So you can imagine the extra work to get pictures, to communicate with our school, for them to turn in pictures. It was a huge feat. And these girls never stopped. And I have 4 of them who are still on my staff who do a great job. But our 2 editors, Natalie, both of them are now gone, graduated, and their work and their leadership is just have commendable that we have gotten this award, because I know it's the first time since I've been principal at Byrd that we have achieved that, and to achieve it during a time when it was the most difficult time to put a yearbook together is very commendable. So I want to introduce you to Ms. Acker, and she's going to talk a little bit more about our yearbook staff.
Hi there. Thank you again for having us and for recognizing an academic elective that is achieved at a state level. If you're not aware, some people in the audience might not be aware, but Yearbook is a photojournalism class, so it is an English elective. So these girls choose to take this class, and it is a ton of work, even on a normal year. So this year obviously was kind of crazy. We didn't even know, we do a lot of planning at the beginning of the year. We didn't even know when or if events were going to happen. It ended up being a great school year, but it was still super challenging to get everything that we needed. And I mean, my two graduates continued to work with me. We didn't submit the book until the middle of July. So they continued after graduation to work on it, and I so appreciate that. And then I've got, well, I'll introduce them when they get their certificates, but yeah, I'm so proud of them. I'm so pleased with you guys. So. We do. Last year, VHSL canceled the competition for state media, so we weren't able to submit the prior year's book, but we did win the Scholastic Press Association Award, and we won a first place prize, and that's a national award, so that was really exciting. Yeah. Thank you, yes. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Tim. Yeah. You know, we're always blessed here in Roanoke County. Not only are we well represented at the state level, you know, on an athletic standpoint, but you know, also an educational standpoint, you know, as well. So, I would agree. So, congratulations to William Byrd Yearbook on that. We'll jump into item 6.01, hearing of citizens and delegations. Just to kind of remind everyone who hasn't been here before, you got 3 minutes. You got your little stop sign up there. Green means go, yellow means you got a minute left, and red means, hey, time's up. So when you step up, just state your name and your address. We'd appreciate it. So first up, I've got Courtney Cutright.
My name's Courtney Cutright. I live at 4480 Banbury Lane in the Windsor Hills District. Good evening, school board members. Dr. Nicely, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to share a few words of appreciation as tonight's Mr. Moretz's last scheduled school board meeting. First of all, I want to commend Mr. Moretz for demonstrating his integrity during the fall campaign for re-election. While tonight might be his last night sitting in the chairman's seat, I feel confident he'll continue his support for students, teachers, and staff in the Roanoke County community. Mr. Moretz has been a friend to the Roanoke County Education Association, and so I wanted to take a moment to publicly thank him for his service on behalf of our membership. Mr. Moretz brings a unique and valuable perspective to this board, being that he's a father of 2 current Roanoke County students, the spouse of a public school educator, and an alumnus of our very own Northside High School. Those connections, I think, have enabled Mr. Moretz to understand and appreciate the school system's employees and the challenges that public educators face every day. The time commitment that a school board member gives is enormous, and I know that Mr. Moretz has sacrificed many hours away from his family because he recognizes the importance of investing in our future and our community through public education. So not only are there the school board meetings, but the preparation beforehand, communications by email and phone with constituents, attending community events, and this comes all in addition to a full-time career. So as I prepared my comments for this evening, I looked for a quote that described Mr. Moretz as a leader, and the words that I found are attributed to a motivational speaker, Jim Rohn. And the quote is, "The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, to be kind but not weak, to be bold but not to bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, to have humor without folly." I just think that Mr. Moretz embodies these leadership qualities, and I'm thankful for his service to our community, and I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I know we don't normally, but may I add that I totally agree with the quote that she just read.
Well, thank you. All right. Next up, we have Mrs. Downey. Welcome. Courtney, thank you for bringing your very quiet daughter back there.
My name is Lisa Downey, and I live at 6138 Castleview Court. I'm not really awesome with I didn't write a speech, but I just came to say thank you. As a parent and as a teacher in the Windsor Hills District, I really appreciate everything that you've done. Jason, as you've been on the school board, you have sacrificed so much time. You have walked the halls of Oak Grove. You have stopped by and asked teachers how they're doing. You really listened to us. I just can't say thank you enough as a teacher and as a parent. You've had so much integrity, and you've been very thoughtful about your decisions and about the things that you say and how you represent Roanoke County schools, and I really appreciate that. I've been with RCA for a while, and I know Courtney already said thank you from us, but we really appreciate working with you. You have been amazing. You really listened, and you really think about teachers, you really think about students, and you really think about parents all at the same time, which is very hard to do. And I just really appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to your wife and your daughter and your son, because they've given up so much. You guys have sacrificed so much as a family just to be part of Roanoke County Public Schools. And I just really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. All right. So next up, we have Mrs. Goodman. Come on up, Sarah.
Sarah Goodman, 5712 Bighorn Drive, Roanoke. Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight as a parent and as a teacher and as a resident of Windsor Hills to express my thanks to Mr. Moretz for his service to our school system. I know all of you put a lot of time and energy into this position of public service, and we owe such a debt of gratitude to the people who are willing to undertake this job in order to promote the best interests of public education. It's huge. Mr. Moretz has been a strong advocate for teachers and students in Roanoke County, and I think this was demonstrated by the record number of educators who volunteered their time to support his reelection. I've been PAC chair of RCEA for quite some time, and I don't think I've ever seen teachers come out to support a candidate like that. Even when we disagreed, and I must admit, there were probably at least a couple of times I personally was a little difficult for him to deal with. Sorry about that. Still, Mr. Moretz always listened, acknowledged, made me feel respected and valued. I knew I could say hard things to him and still count on his support. And I did. As a teacher and a parent, it has been reassuring to know that my school board representative was making his decisions with the health, safety, security, and academic and emotional interests of our students and teachers at the forefront. I have trusted Mr. Moretz to do what is best for us without involving politics, and with the knowledge that our schools cannot be run like a business, which is a mistake many people who don't understand public education do make. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service and to let you know how much you will be missed. I hope your days are soon to be much more stress-free and relaxed. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, next up, we have Autumn Abramowski. I butchered that, didn't I? All right. Hello, Autumn.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi. My name is Autumn Abramsky.
Abramsky.
My address is 2407 Sharmar Road. And good evening, school board members. As I am sure you have heard this many times, I want you to hear it from a student's perspective. As I have to sit in school for 7 hours in this useless mask and experience all the effects that come with it. I personally have experienced an increase in having headaches multiple times each week since the beginning of this school year. The mask is very uncomfortable and has been affecting the skin on my face by causing rashes and breakouts. Although these are minor health concerns, we do not know what sort of long-term health issues masks can cause. There have been many studies performed that masks are not effective to stop the spread of COVID-19. So what's the point of mandating masks just in schools when every other place I go to, masks are not required? Moving on from masks not working, I would like to talk about the double standard that teachers are relaying through their conduct. Numerous teachers within my school will pull down their mask while speaking with you, and some will even take off one side of their mask while teaching their students. I myself have witnessed 2 staff members in an office with no mask on their face. Also, there was no food in the room. How is this protecting students and other staff members if the rules are being broken continuously? Although I fully support any student or staff member who chooses to take off their mask throughout the school day, why should I have to wear my mask all day if there is a double standard, especially for Roanoke County school staff? If I choose to show up to school tomorrow without a mask, what will be the consequences now that you are aware of the double standard? So is all this that I have said going to make a difference, or is my voice not going to be heard? I will no longer sit around and watch my freedoms fade. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and speaking to the board, Autumn. All right. Next up, we have Laura Bowman. Welcome.
Laura Bowman, 6520 Corntassel Lane, Roanoke, Virginia, 24018. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely. As you continue to work with the Board of Supervisors on pressing school construction needs, I'd like to bring something to your attention. A great number of students receive an excellent education in our county's public schools, but then don't choose to live here after high school or college. For as much as both boards talk about the need to keep them here and grow the region's workforce, and how well-paying jobs can help, there's an important element the boards may not be as focused on that's just as important as jobs, and that's the climate and culture of the county and its school system. Parents have been pleased to see the school system embrace programming that includes restorative and inclusive practices that keep students in the classroom learning. We're grateful to see the school system promoting respect and care for self and others. We believe it's vital to student success to embrace a positive school culture and climate. We know that promoting cultural sensitivity creates a more welcoming and inclusive school environment for students and their families, where all feel respected and supported. It's important that our children's schools not only have windows, but also mirrors. This way, our children can see themselves reflected in the classroom, and all students can better view new and different cultures and identities. When students see themselves reflected in the curriculum and the media forms they're provided, and in their teachers and school system leaders, they feel more cared about, more engaged in their schoolwork, and more listened to and heard. All students need and deserve to feel seen and to be able to be their authentic selves. The possibilities for relationship building exponentially increase when this occurs. Children aren't standard issue. They're individuals with their own personalities, stories, family histories, strengths, weaknesses, interests, and motivations. Let's tap into their uniqueness and value them for who they are. Collectively, let's show Roanoke County's families through action and word that we care about all of them. I caution this board and the Board of Supervisors to not just focus on dangling the carrot of jobs, but to focus on how this county can show it values all people and their life experiences. I guarantee we'll see more students want to stay here after high school or come back after college if we make this our combined focus. The train of progress, justice, and righteousness continually moves forward. Some would like to derail the train. Some are running behind it, struggling to catch up. But enough people are on the train, and enough people are encouraging those running behind it to get on board, and so the train continues down the track, and that bodes well for our children and their children's children. I encourage us all to get on board and work together in creating a more caring, inclusive, and knowledgeable populace. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Mr. Moretz, for being my family's representative on the school board. You'll be greatly missed, and we appreciate all of the time, care, and hard work you've put into the school system over the past 6 years.
All right. Next up, I've got Michelle Brooks. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Michelle Brooks. I'm a teacher at Penn Forest. I actually live in Roanoke City. So,
That's okay.
it's not for lack of trying. I actually put in bids on houses and I kept losing them out on.
Good luck.
One of them, Mr. Greenway was selling and I missed it. It sold just like that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Thank you for taking the time to listen and hear what I have to say today. I watched last week's school board meeting and was really pleased and happy to see the recommendation from administration for a pay increase for our support staff. The IAs, bus drivers, bookkeepers, attendance clerks, cafeteria workers, etc., are the backbone of the school. Without the amazing staff we have working in these positions, our schools would not be able to function. I do recommend that you come and see for yourselves at the schools the essential and hard work the support staff gives us daily. I know you'll make the choice to support these staffers that are not appreciated enough for their vital role in the daily tasks of the school environment and vote to give them the step increase that they truly deserve. Speaking of what staff members truly deserve, I'd like to preface this by not saying I am not a SPED teacher, but I have plenty of colleagues who are. And I would like to take the opportunity to discuss SPED teachers in particular. Did you know that many SPED teachers come into work after the contract year has ended, or they're working on Saturdays or after school for hours on end to meet the needs of the paperwork that is required for students who are who have special needs? Most sped teachers I know put in a solid 80 to 100 hours of extra work in addition to their regular teaching duties, either after the contract is ended or, as I said, giving up nights and weekends to get the required paperwork done. Some sped teachers think that their contract should be extended by about 10 days, but others would prefer to work nights or weekends to get required paperwork done. I'm not sure what the best course of action is, but I do believe they need to be compensated for that. In addition to the yearly bonus that just came out. I think by compensating sped teachers for the number of hours they're required to work outside of their contracted hours and/or days, I think it's a step in the right direction to keep our teaching positions equitable and retention rates high for sped teachers in addition to the annual bonus they receive. So I just want to thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone coming out and speaking this evening. We'll move on to item 7.01, report by Student Advisory Council. Welcome. Taylor, how are you? Good.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Nicely. The Student Advisory Council met on December 1st with Northside Middle School's life counselor. At this meeting, we went over the PowerPoint that is showed each year to every student on mental health statistics and signs of depression and anxiety. Our reps gave feedback as to how these presentations could be more productive and entertaining to increase mental health rates throughout Roanoke County schools. We discussed how having more in-person presentations would be more effective, such as having suicide survivors speak to students to give a real-life perspective on how mental health is a big issue in today's society and throughout our county. We then discussed about our SAC logo that we would like to promote our committee and are now narrowing down on one final design. Y'all know how hard that was. Lastly, we talked about having our annual leadership conference and came up with a committee of our reps to get a head start on our conference planning. Thank you all for your continued support of the Student Advisory Council and allowing the SAC the opportunity to vocalize our input. And also, thank you, Mr. Moritz. You've been awesome.
Thanks, Taylor. Appreciate you. All right. Moving on to item 8, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda?
Second. All right, Madam Clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Just again, we say this quite a bit, but everything that's on the consent agenda has been presented to the board, has been discussed, usually at a previous work session. So if you ever get bored, I'd encourage you to watch a live stream of our work session.
Be really bored.
All right, item 9.01, mid-year review, revenue increase and salary adjustments. Mrs. Peterson, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Not sure if maybe I should take offense to that since I talk at a lot of these work sessions. I'm not going to stand here and go over this topic in detail because we did go over it in detail at both the November and December work sessions. So anyone can get back and look at those. But I do want to give a really quick overview, again, of what we're asking for. We are looking to provide a mid-year salary increase costing approximately $963,660 to certain staff members, and we will fund it with an estimated increase in our revenue of $1.8 million. The remaining amount, the difference of $882,211, will be set aside for other identified needs. So to begin with, on the salary side, Mr. Bradshaw and his team analyzed all of the pay scales for certain positions. And this came about because of the increase in October for the substitute pay. And it came about because cafeteria associates have been in very high demand. Our cafeterias have been running at about 28% of them have been at full capacity. And so that's a lot of open positions, about 40%. And so we have a high need for a lot of employees at the lower end of the pay scale. Mr. Bradshaw's team reviewed the pay scale and made certain adjustments to it and to the people on the scale, as is recommended in board docs and shown on there. The exact positions that are included. We went over that in detail last time. The increase, when they looked at it, they did try to do their very best to maintain the integrity of the pay scale, because that is of utmost importance to the school division, that we keep everyone at the right level for the payment process. We do recognize that in doing what we are doing, there will be some compression down at the lower end that we will have to look at through the budgeting process. And we will look at that coming up, because we're getting ready to start the budgeting process. So we do have that to look at for the pay scale. And then to fund it, we looked at the revenues. On the state SOQ side, we are running higher in our enrollment than what we budgeted. And we estimate that we'll be about 153 students higher as of March 31st, which is the number that we are budgeted on, and we actually receive our state funds. And that'll equate to approximately, you found my number, $845,871. We also looked at sales tax revenue separately. That is trending about 7.3% higher than what it was last year. And this is about 2.4 million higher than our budget this year. And we are looking to add only about $1 million of that back into the budget. So like I said, all the details were presented before, and both of the presentations are attached along with the pay plan. Staff is looking to have school board make both of the motions as presented in here, one for the pay plan and two to get the ordinance. What we'll have to do with the ordinance is get your approval for it, and then I'm actually on the schedule for the Board of Supervisors at their meeting Tuesday to present it to them and ask for them to approve and appropriate the funds for an ordinance for this increase. So if you have any questions.
Let me just state, I mean, I just think this is a really huge deal for us to be able to do during the middle of the school year. Thank you for Susan, and your staff's hard work on this. I don't think this is very common to do such a large scale shift in salary during the year. So, I mean, it was important. It was something that we've heard a lot of feedback, from our various employees, and it was the right thing to do. And let's be honest, it's I wouldn't really classify $11 a livable wage an hour. So we're doing everything we can to increase that. So appreciate you've been able to find a way to make it work. And I hope everyone knows how much this board appreciates all of our staff. So with that being said, we have an action item here. Do I have a motion?
Chairman, make a motion. Approve 9.01. Mid-year revenue increase, salary adjustment.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 10.01, we've got a COVID update from Dr. Stegall. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Nicely, our regular COVID update. So, let's get started here. Okay, so we're starting out with the map of Virginia. So you can see red is obviously high transmission, orange would be substantial, and yellow is moderate. So you can see there's a little bit of change. It used to maintain all red, so we are starting to see a little bit of change there. So this is our daily count as of today, and you can see the trend. We're actually on our way back up when you look at the daily count, so not necessarily something that we want to be seeing. Our community transmission, we are still at high transmission. We're at 9.3% positivity, as that we're coming down in the percent of positivity. However, if you look at our case count at 277, last month when I reported to you, we were at 129, so we've doubled in our case count. However, percent of positivity is coming down. New cases per 100,000, this is a 7-day average, and that's why it's dated November 28th through December 4th, and you can see we're on an incline there. This is the percent of positive tests during the last 7 days. We're again at 9.3%. You can see we're dipping under high and heading towards substantial. So we were there, then we went back up, and now we're coming back down. This is something that our health departments has started sharing with us, and if you look at the right-hand chart, it shows you the percent of population of vaccinated by age group, and the first bar there is 5 to 11-year-olds. This is Roanoke County specific data, and we're at 18.7% vaccinated for 5 to 11-year-olds. From 12 to 15-year-olds, we're at 57.8% vaccinated. And 16 to 17, we're at 63% vaccinated. So if you look at our secondary school age range, we're right at 60% vaccinated. Our elementary still a ways off, so just wanted to show you those numbers there. Positive cases by school, you can see there across the board. This was the chart on the left is last week. The chart on the right is this week. You see last week we had a huge spike in the Glenvar area. It impacted all the Glenvar schools, and you can see now we're coming back down. Positive cases by date for all schools. This one we're up and down. This is across the board as we go by date, so there's really no rhyme or reason for any given date. However, Mondays typically obviously are higher because we're taking the count from the whole weekend. In-school exposures, they're still remain very low. The chart on the left is last week. The chart on the right is this week. So we're still not seeing a whole lot of transmission or exposures in school, and we have not had to close any classrooms lately because we're obviously not transmitting to that level. Total quarantines by date. You can see this doesn't really show a lot of here. We're in the 300s again. We were hitting 500, so we are down, but we also got to 200, and we're on our way back up, so we're back to 300. So just hopeful that we can see another trend back down. So the health department reached out to us and asked if they could hold some clinics in our facilities, and we have agreed to allow them to do that. They are going to be optional clinics. Anybody from age 5 and older can come to these clinics to be vaccinated. Parents who would like their children vaccinated would need to bring their children to this site. There are 3 sites: Yearbook Middle, Monday, December 13th, Cave Spring Middle, Tuesday, December 14th, and here at Central, December 15th. Those clinics are open from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can go to our website and get more information on that. So that's all. Any questions you have for me?
The clinics, would that include if staff or anybody wanted boosters or anything? Is that open to the public?
It is. It's open to the public. So parents, teachers, students, anybody who wants to come and get a booster, get their first shot, whatever it is that they want, they can get there. Of course, they are only doing Pfizer.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are we keeping track of the number of students that are quarantined that actually end up testing positive?
We are now. So I did went back and looked at just a sample because we haven't been tracking it all along. So I went back and looked at a 9-day sample just to see what that might look like. We couldn't get. The problem is our nurses aren't, when the kids are testing positive, they're not going back to the chart to see if they were exposure. So that is something we're going to have to start doing. But one thing we started to track today is we're going to track that, and we're also going to track the number of people who, when we quarantine them, we're going to track how many of those turn positive so we can get a better look at what's happening. I think originally our nurses were just so overloaded, they were struggling just to keep up with providing us the information we needed. The numbers have come down a little bit more, so it's more manageable, so we're going to ask them to start tracking that data.
Is there any way to go back and look retroactively?
They could.
Maybe not till the start of the school year, but for the last month or so. It just, when you look at the quarantine numbers and then the in-school exposure numbers are infinitesimal compared to the number of children who are out of school every day, I'm just not sure that, it seems like we're keeping a lot of kids out who may really not need to be out.
I did a snapshot of 9 days, the last 9 days, and when you take that snapshot and you look at that, the reason I did 9 days is because typically if you test on the 5th, you can return on the 8th. So I thought the way we do quarantines, remember if you're quarantined, you stay on the list the whole time. So you have to do a snapshot. So if you look at the last 9 days, we had 28% of those that were on the list for quarantines, 28% of those contributed to school contacts. So the rest of those were from outside contacts. So of all the kids and teachers on our quarantine list for that 9-day period, 28% of them were school contacts to COVID. So in other words, the other percent, they were all outside contacts with COVID.
But you don't know how many tested positive.
We don't know how many tested positive.
And how do you factor in the athletics and the extracurricular activities where no one is wearing masks? I mean, and then you're trying to, how do you contact trace? How does that, I mean, does that even make sense?
It's very difficult. I mean, we just recently last week had, 6 or 8 kids from one team all exposed. So sometimes it can shut down a whole team. It can take out half of a team. And it's just, they do look at videotape. They ask the coaches, on the buses, all those things, they're supposed to be following mitigation, wearing masks. So really when they contact trace, they're just looking at practices and games. And coaches have been practicing trying to keep kids in separate groups and teams and pods. However, we know that's very difficult in a game like basketball when you're engaging 5-on-5 or wrestling, those kinds of things. But they do their best to try to contact trace and quarantine those who have been exposed.
I guess that goes back to Mr. Linden's. I guess we're just quarantining everybody, and whether they even have a chance at it or.
Yeah, that we're following health department guidance that right now, if both people have a mask, it's 3 feet, and if they don't have mask on, which would be during sports, it's 6 feet. So if you were within that realm for 15 minutes, you're considered a contact, which means you quarantine. However, if you're vaccinated, you don't quarantine. So the good thing is, if we're pushing 60% at secondary level, we're finding that a large majority of our students who have been exposed have been vaccinated, therefore don't have to quarantine.
Yeah, Dr. Stigall, the new virus or new variant, Omicron, have you gotten further information? I know we see it on the news. Have you heard any more around our area?
No, Dr. Morrow gives us an update, and she said that they're still researching that, still waiting for more information. I just saw on the media today, one popped up in Virginia, so it's obviously here in Virginia. So yeah, we don't know anything other than that.
And the mandate, that was, I guess they got a second strike for our employees.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the one that.
I think you're talking about the Senate vote. Yeah, the Senate, the federal Senate passed a resolution, I believe, to not uphold it. I'm not sure that carries force of law without equal support in the House of Representatives.
I thought a judge struck it down. I thought a second judge struck that down.
I hadn't seen that. But again, the 2 barriers to implementation would be, right now we know there's still a stay issued by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which affects the whole country apparently. And then secondly, it still has to go through the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry before it's passed down to us, and that hasn't happened yet either.
And one last, I'm not sure we have any guidance. When will we get guidance if the new governor, which has said he's going to, first day, he's going to remove the mask? Does state superintendent give you any guidance, or do they have conversations ahead of time, or have you heard anything? No. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
We've, and all that information on the clinics at the schools, that'll be posted to the website. And
it is.
because we know that the vaccines work, to prevent serious illness. I think we just crossed the 200 million threshold And so, and that's nice. And no one's walking around magnetic or anything like that. So, I mean, I think we're all in good shape. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you.
No glow in the dark.
That's right. No chips or anything. All right. 11.01, report by Roanoke County Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Nicely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have several things I wanted to share. First of all, I've enjoyed visiting classes this past week at several of our schools, including Green Valley, Mount Pleasant today, Penn Forest, Cave Spring. Be visiting William Byrd schools tomorrow. Just been very impressed to see the level of learning for our students taking place, as well as just their enthusiasm and wanting to tell you what they're learning. You know, it's amazing. Even high school kids, and including the small ones too, they just light up when you say, "Hey, what are you learning, and what are you doing that for?" And they just love to tell you. But I'm just reminded again of the great teachers and principals and staff that we have to make all that happen. Today we're at Northside Middle School. We hosted a visiting team from the Virginia Schools to Watch program to consider Northside Middle School's application to renew its status as a school to watch. We had visitors participating from Prince William County, Rockingham County, as well as Salem. And of course, the School to Watch program is sponsored by the National Forum to Accelerate Middle Grades Reform and the Virginia Middle School Association. And Hidden Valley Middle School was the first Roanoke County school designated as a school to watch in 2009. And of course, William Byrd Middle and Glenver Middle have also been designated. So Northside will be hearing shortly about their application, and we wish them the best of success. We got a good feedback today from the visiting team. Want to thank our music teachers for all their extra efforts in this time of year putting on concerts, and especially want to give a shout out to our marching bands from William Byrd, Northside, Cave Spring, for their great performance in the recent Vinton Christmas Parade last week, as well as Glenver's performance in the Salem Parade. Mr. Moretz and Mr. Ray and I met yesterday with Senator Suderline and had a great conversation to advocate for better state funding for some of our public school needs, including help with funding for school infrastructure needs, especially with our replacement for our Burton Center. And need help also fixing our state budget problem, which started back in 2009 with the Great Recession, which placed an artificial cap on the state reimbursements for critically important positions like classroom aides, we call those instructional assistants, nutrition workers, custodians, assistant principals. That artificial cap every year costs Roanoke County Schools about $7.3 million, which we could use for all kinds of really good purposes. We want to thank Senator Suderline for meeting with us. He expressed his support and helping us with that. And we also ask all of our local legislators to help support public education in the upcoming General Assembly session. Want to express my sincere appreciation and add mine to Mr. Moretz for his service on the school board these past several years. He's been a staunch supporter of our schools and students, and we are certainly hoping to talk him into staying involved, perhaps their education foundation, which I know he's been a good supporter of in the past. We'll talk more about that, Mr. Moretz, and just thank you for your service. Finally, my favorite highlight this week has been seeing the field trip that our sixth graders from all 5 of our middle schools were able to experience this week at the airport through the Next Gen Aviation program. And I want to thank Jason Sir for leading our involvement with this program, and also want us to invite us to take just a couple minutes to direct our attention to the video screen to watch a highlight that he and Mr. Lineberg have put together for us. So we'll just take a couple minutes.
This week, Next Gen Aviators have brought their career exploration experience to the Roanoke Airport. The opportunity is offered to all Roanoke County Public Schools 6th grade students, and with parent permission, many of our students have had a chance to explore some of the various parts of the aviation industry in this 2.5-hour field trip, the highlight of which is to take a flight in one of Dynamic Aviation's King Air airplanes. does the Next Gen experience give all participating students an opportunity to fly, some for the first time, but it also showcases other basic parts of the aviation industry. Students participated in separate modules that included flying a plane on a flight simulator, exploring the different parts that make up a plane, building a model airplane using rivets and sheet metal, using computer-aided drafting to build an airplane, and working on an electronic wiring simulation. On Monday, we had 2 surprise guests who happened to be passing through the airport. Current Governor Northam was on a very tight schedule but did wave to the students. Governor-elect Youngkin spent a few minutes chatting with some of the William Byrd Middle School students. Overall, our 6th graders were given a glimpse into the many different career opportunities that the aviation industry affords, and we are grateful to NextGen and their many sponsors for providing this career exploration opportunity to our students. This week, NextGen aviators have brought...
Thank you, Mr. Lineberger, for putting that together this afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hope some of you get to come out tomorrow morning and see some of that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Nicely. So, moving on to reports and inquiries of board members, we'll let Mr. Hudson kick us off. Welcome.
I have to go first?
Yes, you do.
Mess
That's
this up.
initiation, my man.
Well, first, I'd just like to say it's an honor to be here and an honor to serve, and I really thank the citizens for allowing me this opportunity. Mainly what I'm going to talk about is just a lot of congratulations to folks. Glenver Volleyball won state championship, so we'll recognize them next month. We'll get them on the agenda, as well as our football team did really well. And I'd like to thank the young lady Autumn out here for having the courage to come up and speak in front of everybody like that. That's not easy even for an adult. So you did a really good job, and I really appreciate you being passionate enough to come up and put that speech together. Also, we had several teachers throughout the district win grants this past week, and I'll just name the ones in my district out. Mr. Mike Isbell from Fort Lewis Elementary, and Ashley Gallion from Northside Middle and High School, Tammy Odom from Glenver High School, and Stephanie Doyle and Kelsey Newcomb, both from Glen Cove Elementary. These grants are being put to really good use. I was amazed at the creativity that the teachers had come up with and the ideas and that they're going to use this money for. It was really nice to see that they're out here working really hard for our education beyond just in the classroom. But Merry Christmas to everybody, and I'll pass it over.
All right. So, Mr. London?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that 2021 has been a difficult year for all our teachers and staff and IAs and bus drivers and all of the employees throughout the school district. So just wanted to say thank you to them for all their hard work. And as Mr. Moretz stated earlier, the bonus or the additional funds that we were able to find for those employees really was so well deserved, and I'm glad we were able to do that. So Mr. North, Phil North, and I, local representative from the Hollins District on the Board of Supervisors, he and I met with Delegate Head late last week, and I can assure you that we're doing all we can to get with as many of our local officials as possible to get BCAT moving forward. And we had a very good conversation with him. I think he had some good ideas as well, and look forward to continuing. We really need to push BCAT and get that moving forward sooner rather than later. I want to be sitting here 2-3 years from now having these same discussions. So I do think that those conversations, that, as Dr. Nicely said he had with Mr. Suderline, and the more we can get our local and state representatives on board with this, I think the better off we'll all be. So Autumn, you're right on those masks. I'd love to see with the new administration coming in. Maybe they are optional, but we'll see what happens come January. Jason, it's been a pleasure. You've really enjoyed the 4 years working with you. Courtney's quote was spot on. I wish I'd taken the time to look something up that was that thoughtful and that precise on just the way you've gone about your job as a school board member, and it's impressed me from even before I was on the board. I know you've given a lot of thought to everything and made decisions that you always thought were in the best interest of everybody involved. So I've really enjoyed getting to know you and our time together on the board. So wish you the best and your family the best. Other than that, wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Courtney, would you mind coming back? Can I put you on the spot and read that quote one more time? And I'm glad you referenced it because, yeah.
Well, could I give it to you to read?
Well, sure. I'll be happy to. Well, neither am I. Have you heard me? Okay. So I thought this, I meant that when I said it. I do think, Jason, I think that was a great quote. I think it does say a lot about you and 4 years or 6 years I've had with you that we've been around each other. I think this is true. The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, have humor but without folly. And I agree. That's a wonderful quote, and I think that is spot on for you. It's been a pleasure to serve with you as well. I didn't mean to lead out with that, but when David finished his part, I thought it led right in, and great quote and spot on for you. So thank you, and to say I won't miss you at these meetings will be a lie. So hopefully we can keep in touch. So that was really something I should have done towards the end, but want to extend my appreciation to Autumn as well. I thought that was spot on. It doesn't matter what the topic was, to be honest with you. The fact that you came here as a student and you got up here and gave your opinion, I thought was amazing. And we appreciate you. And it's always to see the students come up here and to see our representative come up here, and it's amazing to listen to the students come up here and speak, and y'all do a great job. Thank you. I want to go to BCAT, and I appreciate the comments that have been made, and Mr. Linden and Dr. Nicely. We have had a joint meeting. We've all agreed that BCAT needs to be done. We've talked about it, I know, for the 6 years we've been on the board. And, we all agreed to a 1% sales tax increase, or at least a referendum. We also agreed that, to my knowledge, that we'd start in 2023, that we'd be hitting the ground running based off the committee's recommendations. And now it's just odd, in my mind, that we're starting to walk that back. The 1% sales tax increase to me seems to be the best vehicle to get there. You can't put politics into it, because if you do, then we can't do it, because we can't raise $1 of revenue through taxes. We can raise your assessments and increase your taxes, but that's not really a tax increase. So, at some point we got to stop letting Northern Virginia and some of these other areas eat our lunch and realize we need economic development. We need these kids to stay here. Laura and I, Ms. Bowman, we disagree on some things, but we're in agreement here. We want these kids to stay here. And it's time to, quit talking about it and get it done. It's not only economic development, education. Think about what it'll generate in whatever community or wherever we put this facility, and the jobs that'll come around it. Instead of having it in a hole over here in Salem, we bring it back to an area in Roanoke County. We revitalize that area. We get kids job ready. We have them ready to get in the workforce. And the 1% sales tax, the thing I liked about that, since it's been presented, is it's not 100% on Roanoke County citizens, because you're going to have Franklin County, Montgomery County, Bedford County, all those, everybody's going to come into Roanoke for sales tax. And it's a way that we can generate the revenue to pay for the debt to get this done and not push it down the road. It's something we should have done 15 or 20 years ago. So I know I'm preaching to the choir in many ways, but we have got to get this done and not continue to kick the can, not study it again. We did that for a year with, we let the Board of Supervisors study it for a year. We've not had meetings because we were going to be in disagreement. And I'm sorry that I'm being as blunt as I am, but at some point we need to sit at the table, get it done. And hopefully this committee will bring the recommendation. And I'm not going to take my foot off the gas. And, I think anybody that, if you're a Roanoke County resident, I don't see how you can not want this for our area. So, we gotta do what's best for Roanoke County. And the regional idea, that might be a good idea, but I don't think we start off that way. We've seen what the governor school, with the limitations we have on that, we can't get the kids in. So, this one we can control and get it done. Let's get it done now. So, welcome, Brent. Glad to have you on board. And Merry Christmas, everybody. It's good to see a full crowd tonight, and education is strong, and we're looking forward to hitting the ground running in the next year and keeping it that way. So thank everyone. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When we met and about the support cap that Dr. Nicely was talking about, it was implemented in 2009, and it was during a recession by Governor Tim Kaine. And the state, since 2009, the state budget has increased 84%. Well, guess how much our budget for education has increased? Not even double digit, 7%. So, as Dr. Nicely said, this has cost us $7.3 million in funding. You know how far that could go towards a lot of programs that we have. So, we constantly, we're going to try to get some letters out to these legislators to make sure that they understand where our needs are, and that we want to move our facilities off of zero and move it forward. And as Mr. Greenway said, this has just been buried in back and forth discussions for too long. And you kick it to one side, kick it to the other. And I think in doing these things and letting these legislators know, when you write letters, it makes a difference. You get flooded letters that we need this funding for our facilities. So I think it's very important that we as a board, we as a school system, and we as citizens make this known. I'm also going to Penn Forest tomorrow for a teacher grant, and also sit in on a deep learning, one of the courses. So it's really, I'm looking forward to that, interested, and, this is very interesting. And when as Mr. Hudson said about winning these grants, that's a big deal. It's a big deal because we're getting money to supplement these programs. So, our teacher staff, everybody's working hard, for getting these awards, getting these monies. How exciting is it to think about that you could be a future pilot? You went up in a plane and you saw, and it spurred your interest, and all of a sudden, how many opportunities do you think they're having looking at these type things, whether they be mechanics, whatever, but they're exposed to these. It's incredible that we're doing these type of programs. So I look forward to tomorrow. to go out there as well. I will not be here for the investiture. I'll be out of town. But, I will certainly look forward to our January meetings. I will also, what do I say about, Jason Moretz? I mean, he has been a steady rock for us, the board. And, you read about a lot in the paper about the different boards, things that are going on, where boards are not even speaking to each other, they're arguing, they're going through. But you have leadership, as Mr. Moretz had, and we gel together, and we make decisions for Roanoke County. So, we appreciate everything, Jason, you've done for us over the years. You've been here. You were there a little while before, but 6 years I've been here. Certainly, it doesn't mean we always agree, but we'll come together and each one will express their opinions. And we appreciate your leadership. With that, I'll say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone. But with that, I would like to present Mr. Moretz with a plaque.
All right.
And you want to go ahead and do your?
What's that?
You want to say anything first, or you want?
I'll have plenty to say here in a minute.
Roanoke County School Board recognizes the service of Jason B. Moretz, Windsor Hills School Board member, 2015 to 2021. Thank you for your dedication and service to the students and staff of Roanoke County Public Schools. See, we got your picture on. All right.
I appreciate the kind words, everybody. I will be less than 15 minutes, so I will keep my mask off since I'm allowed to. A lot of good, and I do have prepared remarks, but I'm going to go off script here a little bit, and I'm counting on, and I have no doubt, I'm counting on Mr. Greenway to lead the charge and hold our Board of Supervisors' feet to the fire. You and I had a good conversation yesterday, and we kind of came to the agreement that on some things, you've got to choose Roanoke County over party. All right, and we have 5 members on the Board of Supervisors. And I mean, in order to get an endorsement from the Republicans, you have to pretty much pledge to not raise taxes. So where's additional revenue coming from? It's not coming from economic development. I mean, at least at this point, especially not, I mean, we can talk about, a new Chipotle and a Blaze Pizza and everything, but I mean, getting back to the point, I mean, these are $10, $11, $12 an hour jobs. Where's the big wins that surrounding localities are getting? And I know we've got some land issues there, but we definitely need to hold their feet to the fire. And I've no doubt, there's, Mr. Greenway and I, have, agree more than not, but, one thing is he will speak his mind, and I have no doubt that he will hold King Phil's feet to the fire over on the Board of Supervisors. So, and then, a lot of what we do is, as parents, and one of the things that one of the reasons I wanted to come on the board, married to an educator, to have kids in the school system, but I also want to be a good example to my kids. I mean, we as parents, we model our behavior for our kids, right? I mean, there may be some things that our kids don't want to do, or we may not necessarily agree with, but, our kids, how we model our behavior and our enthusiasm and our willingness to do things, is extremely important. So, appreciate my wife and daughter being here tonight. It's tough to get a soon to be 18-year-old son out of the house. He's probably at the gym for all I know. But so I'll get on to my prepared remarks. So let me start by saying how lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. It's been an honor and privilege to serve on this board. Since this is my last school board meeting, I would like to share a few final thoughts. I would like to thank my constituents in Windsor Hills. Even though we may not always agree, it has been an honor to serve as your representative for the last 6 years. Second, I would like to thank Dr. Ken Nicely, the central office staff, administrators across Roanoke County, and every Roanoke County school employee. Each position in Roanoke County is integral to the success of this school system. Your hard work and dedication, trust me, does not go unnoticed. As a parent and former student myself, I am thankful for the amazing educators and high-quality school system that my children and I have been fortunate enough to call our own. My kids are Titans, but, in my heart, I'll always be a Viking. So go Northside. Speaking of Dr. Nicely, hiring Dr. Nicely was one of the best decisions I was honored to be a part of. Dr. Nicely has given the majority of his adult life to Roanoke County Public Schools. You will not find a man with more honor, dignity, compassion, and willingness to serve his community. So I consider myself lucky to call you a friend. To my fellow school board members, I really do wish you the best of luck as you navigate what will continue to be divisive issues in public education. If I could give you any advice, it would be this. Regularly ask yourself, what is best for students? I understand that your own student or grand student may be part of this great school system, but there are students in our school system that differ from them and my kids in many ways. Could be academically, could be socioeconomically, racially. The list is endless. Making issues personal or political, it's just not appropriate. The work needs to be in the best interest of the students. Remember, parents are sending us the best children they have. Remember that equity is not a bad word. It means giving everyone what they need in order to be successful. In very simple terms, equity is giving a child a high chair or a booster seat in a restaurant so that they're at the same level as everyone else. That's not a bad thing. To all the parents who have voiced concern over the last 18 months, my hope is that you will channel that energy and get more involved with your child's school. Your PTA, your PTSO needs you, whether it's serving on the board or committee, helping with a cleanup day, a fun run, or after prom. They need your help. I'm going off script, but one of the things in all the emails, the hundreds and hundreds of emails I've gotten from, parents, a lot of the ones, that want more say in their child's education, or, they're, concerned about masks or a vaccine mandate. Half of them, I searched, half of them doesn't even belong to their kids' PTA. So it's $5 and they need your help. So for those of you that are not aware, we're about to face a serious teacher shortage. Our teachers, and trust me, it's not because our teachers are going to Salem. It is my sincere hope that no Roanoke County Public School employee has anything to fear from who they supported in the election. These employees are irreplaceable, and I cannot think of a single employee that would have a hard time getting a job somewhere else because they feel unsupported by the board. if you take a look around at many of our leaders in Roanoke County schools, many of them started out as teachers here. We want to hire the best, the brightest teachers, and we want them to feel welcomed and appreciated, not just with our words, but with our actions. One of the things I'm going to miss is visiting the schools and seeing all the students and staff. Look, my season and time here is done, but Roanoke County Schools will always be a part of me. I wish you all a happy holiday, and, trust me, I'll be thinking of you all on Christmas Day as I'm floating somewhere in the Caribbean Sea. Meeting adjourned.